some really underrated or lesser known games that you should check out. Let's go. Cultic. Let me tell you about Cultic. This game absolutely nails the vibe of old school shooters like Blood and Doom while adding a fresh twist. You play as a detective who finds himself going up against a dangerous, deranged cult in a grim, unsettling world. It's got fast-paced combat, atmospheric levels, and just the right amount of retro style to hook anyone who loves classic FPS games. The combat is where Cultic shines. You've got a solid arsenal of weapons, everything from pistols and shotguns to explosives, and the enemies don't hold back. Cultists charge at you in droves, and the supernatural creatures lurking in the shadows, they'll keep you on your toes. The fights feel intense, and every encounter forces you to think on your feet. The levels are packed with secrets and rewards for exploring. You'll wander through creepy forests, crumbling facilities, and other eerie locations, each designed to immerse you in the game's unsettling atmosphere. It's not just about blasting through enemies, it's about soaking in the tension and uncovering the story piece by piece. What makes Cultic stand out is how well it blends that retro shooter feel with modern touches. The pixelated visuals and gritty environments scream nostalgia, but the fluid mechanics and smart design make it feel fresh. It's the best of both worlds, whether you're a long-time fan of the genre or jumping in for the first time. If you're into fast-paced shooters with a dark, horror-inspired edge, Cultic is a game you've got to try. It's brutal, it's atmospheric, and it's criminally underrated. Give it a shot, you won't regret it. Pacific Drive. Alright, let's talk about Pacific Drive, a survival game that's as unique as it is eerie. Imagine you're stuck in the Pacific Northwest, but instead of beautiful forests and coffee shops, you're driving through a mysterious exclusion zone filled with supernatural dangers. Your only ally? A beat-up station wagon that you'll rely on for everything. The game is all about keeping your car running while braving the strange and hostile environment around you. You'll scavenge for parts, repair your ride, and upgrade it to handle everything the zone throws at you. It's not just a survival game, it's a survival road trip. The world is unpredictable and constantly changing. One trip might have you dodging bizarre storms, while the next has you navigating areas filled with weird anomalies or hostile forces. It keeps you on edge because you never know what's waiting around the corner. Your station wagon isn't just a tool, it feels like a character. You'll spend time customizing it, fixing it up, and making it yours. Whether it's upgrading the engine to handle rough terrain or bolting on defenses to survive the zone's dangers, there's a real sense of connection to your vehicle. What makes Pacific Drive stand out is its atmosphere. The setting is equal parts beautiful and unsettling, with dense forests, abandoned structures, and strange phenomena that make you feel like you're in a world gone wrong. The sound design adds to the tension. Every creak of the car or distant roar reminds you that you're never really safe. If you're into survival games with a twist, Pacific Drive is worth checking out. It's got a fresh concept, a hauntingly immersive world, and a gameplay loop that keeps you coming back for one more drive. It's a hidden gem that more people should experience. System Shock. Let's talk about System Shock, a classic reborn for a new generation. This is a remake of the 1994 cult classic, and it's not just a nostalgia trip, it's a full reimagining that blends the original's tense atmosphere with modern visuals and mechanics. If you're into immersive sci-fi horror, this one deserves your attention. You play as a hacker trapped aboard Citadel Station, a space facility overtaken by Shodan, a rogue AI with a god complex. Your mission? Stop Shodan and survive her twisted creations. The story is as unsettling as ever, with Shodan's chilling voice and godlike arrogance keeping the stakes high throughout. The gameplay combines exploration, puzzle solving, and combat. Citadel Station is a maze of interconnected areas filled with secrets, deadly traps, and enemies that require both brains and brawn to overcome. You'll find weapons, tools, and upgrades as you go, and deciding how to use them is key. This isn't a run and gun shooter. You'll need to think ahead, conserve resources, and adapt to what the station throws at you. The atmosphere is where System Shock truly shines. The environments are dark, claustrophobic, and oozing with personality. The game's mix of retro-futuristic design and modern graphics creates a setting that feels both nostalgic and fresh. Pair that with an unsettling soundtrack and showdowns taunts, and you've got a game that keeps you on edge from start to finish. What makes the remake so impressive is how it respects the original while refining the experience for today's players. The controls are smoother, the UI is more intuitive, and the visuals bring Citadel Station to life in ways the original couldn't. System Shock isn't just for fans of the original, it's for anyone who loves a good sci-fi story, a tense survival challenge, or exploring a world packed with detail. It's an underrated gem that deserves way more love, and if you give it a chance, it just might surprise you. Eastshade. Let's talk about Eastshade, a game that feels like a breath of fresh air, literally. It's a first-person adventure game where you're not battling monsters or solving some grand mystery. Instead, you're an artist exploring the peaceful, vibrant island of Eastshade, painting its stunning landscapes and connecting with its charming inhabitants. The premise is simple: you travel around the island, painting scenes that inspire you and completing requests from the locals. The act of painting is straightforward but oddly satisfying. You frame your scene, press a button, and voila, you've created a work of art. It's not about skill, it's about capturing the beauty of the world around you. The real magic, though, is in the world itself. Eastshade is lush, colorful, and full of little details that make it feel alive. You'll wander through sun-dappled forests, stand on cliffs overlooking the sea, and explore cozy villages, each with its own unique vibe. It's one of those games where you'll find yourself stopping just to take in the view. The locals are what bring the world to life. They're anthropomorphic animals with personalities and stories, and talking to them often leads to interesting quests. One might ask you to paint their favorite spot, while another might have a more personal request that reveals something about their life. The dialogue feels natural, and the game encourages you to slow down and engage with the people you meet. There's no combat, no urgency, just exploration and discovery at your own pace. You'll gather materials to craft tools, solve environmental puzzles, and unlock new areas, but nothing ever feels rushed or stressful. It's all about soaking in the atmosphere and letting the world unfold around you. Eastshade is the kind of game that sneaks up on you. It's quiet, calming, and deeply rewarding in its simplicity. If you're looking for something relaxing, thoughtful, and unlike anything else you've played, this is a game that deserves more attention. It's a hidden gem for anyone who loves exploration and storytelling without the pressure of combat or time limits. Katana ZERO. Katana ZERO is an indie gem that combines fast-paced action, stylish visuals, and a story that'll mess with your head in the best way. You play as a samurai assassin known as the Dragon, slicing through enemies with precision while uncovering a narrative full of twists, mystery, and psychological depth. The gameplay is razor sharp. Each level is a puzzle in itself. You have to plan your moves carefully because one hit and you're dead, but that's part of the fun. You'll use your katana to deflect bullets, take out enemies in creative ways, and even slow time to get the upper hand. Every stage feels like a perfectly choreographed action scene, and when you pull it off, it's incredibly satisfying. The game doesn't just rely on its combat though. The story is a huge part of what makes Katana ZERO so memorable. It's dark, gripping, and constantly keeps you guessing. Through dialogue choices, you shape how your character interacts with others, and while the answers might not always be clear, they add layers to the narrative. The pixel art style is stunning, with neon-soaked environments and smooth animations that give the game a unique look. The soundtrack, absolute fire. It's packed with synthwave beats that perfectly match the game's intense, moody atmosphere. What makes Katana ZERO special is how tightly everything is woven together. The gameplay, story, and aesthetic all work in sync to create an experience that's hard to put down. It's short, but with different ways to approach levels and secrets to uncover, it begs for multiple playthroughs. If you're into fast, brutal action games with a story that keeps you hooked, Katana ZERO is a must-play. It's one of those games that feels just as good to play as it is to watch, and it sticks with you long after you've finished. Mutazione. Let me tell you about Mutazione, a game that's all about connection, storytelling, and just slowing down to enjoy the little things. You play as Kai, a 15-year-old girl visiting her sick grandfather, Nano, in a small secluded community called Mutazione. But this isn't your typical village, it's a lush, hand-drawn world full of mutant residents with their own quirks, struggles, and stories to tell. The game is less about big action moments and more about the relationships you build. As Kai, you'll spend your time exploring the island, talking to its residents, and helping them with their personal challenges. Each character feels alive with their own unique personalities and emotional depth. The conversations feel natural, and as you dig deeper, you start uncovering the secrets of both the people and the island itself. One of the most unique parts of Mutazione is its gardening. You'll create and tend to beautiful musical gardens that aren't just for show, they play a key role in the story. Each garden has its own vibe, and as you plant and nurture them, the game lets you reflect on the connections between nature, emotions, and healing. It's a calming, meditative part of the gameplay that balances the more narrative-driven moments. Visually, the game is stunning. The hand-drawn art gives the world a vibrant, organic feel, and the soundtrack complements the mood perfectly. Whether you're watching the sunrise over the water or listening to the hum of your garden, every moment feels thoughtfully designed to immerse you. Mutazione isn't about rushing or big challenges, it's about soaking in the experience, connecting with the characters, and uncovering a story that's heartfelt and meaningful. If you're looking for a game that's quiet, introspective, and just plain lovely, this one is worth checking out. It's a hidden gem that more people should play. The Last Campfire. The Last Campfire is one of those quietly beautiful games that sneaks up on you with its charm. It's a puzzle adventure game by Hello Games, the same team behind No Man's Sky, but this time, they've crafted something small, heartfelt, and deeply personal. You play as Ember, a little lost soul searching for meaning and a way home. Along the way, you explore a world filled with strange ruins, forgotten characters, and simple but rewarding puzzles. The story has this gentle melancholy to it, exploring themes of hope, loss, and connection without ever feeling heavy-handed. The puzzles are the core of the gameplay. They're not overly complex, but they're clever enough to make you think. You'll light torches, move blocks, and figure out how to guide Ember through each obstacle, all while discovering more about the world and the other lost souls you encounter. What makes The Last Campfire special is how it balances its gameplay with its atmosphere. The world is colorful and handcrafted, with a mix of whimsical and mysterious vibes. The music and narration add to the experience, creating a tone that feels both comforting and thought-provoking. The game is relatively short, but it doesn't waste a moment. Every puzzle, interaction, and bit of exploration feels meaningful. It's the kind of game that leaves you feeling reflective and a little more at peace when it's over. If you're looking for something quiet and thoughtful, The Last Campfire is a game you shouldn't miss. It's a short journey, but it's packed with heart, and it deserves more love than it gets. It's perfect for anyone who enjoys puzzles, exploration, or just a good story with emotional depth. Call of the Sea. Call of the Sea is an adventure puzzle game that blends a gripping mystery with stunning visuals and an emotional story. Set in the 1930s, you play as Nora, a woman searching for her missing husband on a mysterious tropical island. The deeper you explore, the more you uncover about the island's secrets and Nora's own strange connection to it. The game is all about exploration and discovery. You'll solve puzzles to unlock new areas and piece together the story of what happened to the island's previous inhabitants. The puzzles are well designed, striking a balance between challenge and accessibility so they feel rewarding without being frustrating. The island itself is a character in its own right. It's vibrant, colorful, and full of detail with everything from lush jungles to eerie ruins. The art style gives the game a surreal, dreamlike quality that pulls you into its world. The soundtrack complements this perfectly, creating an atmosphere that feels equal parts calming and mysterious. What really makes Call of the Sea stand out is its story. It's not just about finding Nora's husband, it's about uncovering her own past and the choices she faces as she learns more about the island. The narrative has a Lovecraftian edge, but instead of diving into horror, it leans into wonder and curiosity. The game is relatively short, but it's packed with memorable moments. It's perfect for anyone who enjoys story-driven games with light puzzle mechanics and a focus on atmosphere. Call of the Sea is a hidden gem that that deserves more attention. It's a thoughtful, beautifully crafted adventure that stays with you long after the credits roll. If you're in the mood for a relaxing yet intriguing mystery, this one's well worth your time. Judgment. If you're into detective stories with some action on the side, Judgment is a game you need to check out. It's set in the same world as the Yakuza series, but instead of being a gangster, you're Taki Yagami, a private detective in Kamurocho, trying to crack a case involving a string of gruesome murders. The story mixes mystery, drama, and some seriously intense twists. It's the kind of game that keeps you hooked until the end. The gameplay is a blend of investigation and combat. As Yagami, you'll gather clues, tail suspects, and question witnesses. The detective work is straightforward but satisfying. It gives you a reason to explore Kamurocho's neon-lit streets and dive deeper into the city's secrets. And when things heat up, the combat kicks in. You'll use two fighting styles, Crane for crowd control and Tiger for one-on-one fights, both of which feel fast and impactful. Kamurocho itself is a star of the game. It's full of life with plenty of side cases, mini games, and quirky characters to distract you from the main story. Whether you're playing darts, racing drones, or just grabbing a bite to eat, the city feels like a playground. Judgment strikes a great balance between action, narrative, and open-world exploration. It's perfect for fans of crime dramas or anyone who wants a good story-driven game with a mix of fun gameplay elements. If you're looking for a game that'll keep you guessing while delivering plenty of action and charm, Judgment is a must-play.
Specific, you know?
Arise, a simple story. Arise, a simple story is one of those games that hits you right in the feels. It's a narrative-driven platformer where you relive the memories of an old man as he reflects on his life after passing away. Each level represents a key moment in his journey: joy, sorrow, love, and loss, and the game takes you through these emotions in a way that's both heartfelt and visually stunning. The gameplay revolves around exploration and time manipulation. You can move forward or backward in time to solve puzzles and navigate the world. For example, you might shift time to grow flowers that form a path or roll back a storm to clear your way. It's a simple mechanic, but it's used so creatively that it never feels repetitive. The art style is breathtaking. Each level is like a living painting with vibrant colors and imaginative landscapes that reflect the emotions of the story. One moment you'll be walking through a field of blooming flowers, and the next you'll be navigating a dark, stormy terrain. The music ties it all together with a hauntingly beautiful score that amplifies the emotional impact of every scene. What makes Arise stand out is how personal and universal its story feels. It doesn't use dialogue to tell its tale. It relies entirely on visuals, music, and gameplay to convey its themes. It's about life's highs and lows, the memories we hold onto, and the journey we all take. The game is relatively short, but it doesn't need to be longer. It's a tightly crafted experience that leaves a lasting impression without overstaying its welcome. If you're in the mood for a game that's both relaxing and deeply emotional, Arise, a simple story is worth your time. It's a beautiful journey that reminds you to appreciate the little moments in life. Röki. Röki is a beautiful, heartwarming adventure game inspired by Scandinavian folklore. You play as Tove, a young girl on a journey through a magical yet haunting world to save her family. The story mixes fairy tale charm with deeper themes of love, loss, and courage, making it a game that sticks with you long after you finish. The gameplay is all about exploration and puzzle solving. As Tove, you'll navigate snowy forests, mysterious ruins, and magical caves, uncovering secrets and interacting with fantastical creatures along the way. The puzzles are clever and intuitive. They'll make you think without ever feeling frustrating. Whether you're piecing together an ancient mechanism or figuring out how to help a grumpy troll, every solution feels satisfying. The world of Röki is breathtaking. Its art style is minimalist yet rich with detail, creating an atmosphere that's both cozy and eerie. The environments feel alive, and the creatures you meet, many based on Nordic myths, are charming and full of personality. From mischievous spirits to ancient guardians, every encounter feels like stepping into a storybook. What really makes Röki shine is its emotional core. Tove is a strong but vulnerable character, and her determination to protect her family gives the story real weight. As you uncover more about her past and the challenges she's faced, the game becomes more than just an adventure, it's a journey of healing and resilience. The soundtrack ties everything together with melodies that perfectly capture the game's balance of wonder and melancholy. It's the kind of music that lingers in your mind long after you've turned off the game. Röki is perfect for anyone who loves narrative-driven games with a touch of magic. It's not about action or combat, it's about exploring, solving puzzles, and getting lost in a beautifully crafted world. If you're looking for a hidden gem with a lot of heart, this one is a must-play. Sable. Let's talk about Sable, a game that's all about exploring at your own pace and discovering who you are. You play as Sable, a young girl setting out on her gliding a rite of passage where you travel across a desert world, meeting people, exploring ruins, and figuring out what kind of person you want to become. There's no combat, no pressure, and no right way to play. It's just you, your hoverbike, and the open road. The gameplay is simple and freeing. You can climb almost anything, glide through the air, or hop on your customizable hoverbike to cruise across the sand. The world is open and full of stunning places to explore: ancient wrecks, towering cliffs, bustling camps, and quiet ruins. There are no waypoints or markers pushing you in a specific direction. You go where curiosity takes you. What really stands out is the art style. The visuals look like a living comic book with bold lines, bright colors, and a unique hand-drawn feel. Every place you visit feels like a work of art, whether it's a glowing canyon at sunset or a mysterious temple hidden in the dunes. The story unfolds through conversations and exploration. The people you meet are full of personality, and the choices you make feel natural. Some might give you a task, share a bit of wisdom, or just tell you about their lives. It's a game that's less about action and more about reflecting on the journey. Sable isn't about rushing or completing objectives. It's about wandering, discovering, and finding your own path. If you're looking for a game that feels more like a peaceful road trip than a challenge, this is the one. It's thoughtful, beautiful, and quietly unforgettable. Pentiment. Let me tell you about Pentiment, a narrative-driven adventure that feels like stepping into a medieval manuscript. Set in 16th century Bavaria, you play as Andreas Mahler, a journeyman artist working at a monastery. But this isn't just a story about painting, it's a tale of murder, faith, and social change during a turbulent period in history. The game's visual style is immediately striking. Everything looks like it's been pulled straight from the illuminated pages of a medieval manuscript. The art style evolves as you explore, with subtle nods to the transition from medieval to Renaissance art, creating a sense that you're living through a cultural shift. The gameplay is all about choices. You guide Andreas through conversations, investigations, and tough moral decisions. A murder sets off the story, and it's up to you to uncover the truth, but it's rarely clear-cut. Your choices affect how people see Andreas and what outcomes you'll get, and there's a lot of gray area. It's less about finding the right answer and more about navigating the complexities of the time and the people. The writing is sharp and layered, weaving in humor, intrigue, and historical depth. The game dives into topics like religion, class, and art, but it never feels like a history lecture. Instead, it uses these themes to build a world that feels alive and real. The dialogue feels natural, and the characters are all fascinating, from monks and nuns to villagers with their own secrets and struggles. What makes Pentiment stand out is how personal it feels. It's not about big action scenes or solving puzzles, it's about connecting with people, understanding their lives, and seeing the world through their eyes. The game also respects your time. It's compact but rich, with a story that spans decades and leaves a lasting impact. If you're looking for a slower, more thoughtful game that feels like an interactive piece of history, Pentiment is something special. It's unique, beautifully crafted, and full of fun. Definitely worth a play if you love strong storytelling and a bit of historical flavor. Children of the Sun. Let's talk about Children of the Sun, a game that's all about strategy, precision, and a little bit of revenge. You play as the girl, a lone sniper on a mission to take down a sinister cult that's responsible for her loss. But this isn't your typical shooter. It's more like a puzzle game where you get one bullet per level, and it's up to you to figure out how to make it count. The gameplay is where Children of the Sun really shines. You guide your bullet through intricate environments, taking out enemies, triggering traps, and sometimes even manipulating the level itself to reach your goal. The best part? The bullet isn't just a straight shot. You can curve it around corners, speed it up to break through armor, or re-aim after it hits something. It's all about finding the most creative and efficient way to solve each level. The story is told through minimalist, hand-drawn cutscenes that give the game a gritty, mysterious vibe. It's not heavy on dialogue, but it doesn't need to be. The focus is on the atmosphere and the personal stakes of your mission. Visually, the game has this old-school, high-contrast aesthetic that makes the levels pop. It's simple but effective, keeping the focus on the gameplay without unnecessary distractions. That said, some areas can feel a bit too dark, which might make it tricky to spot certain details, but it doesn't take away from the overall experience. If you're into games that challenge your brain as much as your reflexes, Children of the Sun is a unique mix of tactical sniping and puzzle solving that's worth checking out. It's clever, rewarding, and definitely one of those games that flies under the radar, but deserves more attention. Anomaly Agent. Let's talk about Anomaly Agent, a slick cyberpunk action platformer that mixes fast combat, a twisting narrative, and some seriously cool style. You play as Agent 70, a futuristic operative tasked with handling anomalies that threaten the balance of reality. It's part beat 'em up, part shooter, and all about keeping you on your toes. The combat is a blast. You can punch, shoot, or mix the two to take down waves of enemies in quick, fluid fights. The controls are tight, and the game gives you plenty of ways to upgrade your character so you can tweak your abilities to fit how you like to play. Whether you're smashing through foes with melee attacks or blasting them from a distance, the action feels fast and satisfying. The story is where Anomaly Agent gets really interesting. It's packed with twists and turns, with a cast of memorable characters that keep things moving. What you choose to do in certain situations affects how the story unfolds, so there's a real sense of agency as you navigate its branching paths. What makes Anomaly Agent stand out is how well it balances its gameplay and story. It's not just about fighting, it's about diving into this weird, glitchy, futuristic world and figuring out your place in it. If you're into cyberpunk aesthetics, fast-paced action, and narratives that keep you guessing, Anomaly Agent is a game you should check out. It's a fresh, fun experience that feels like it deserves way more love. 9 Souls. Let's talk about 9 Souls, a stunning action platformer that blends Eastern mythology with cyberpunk vibes, a style the developers call Teapunk. You play as Yi, a vengeful warrior on a mission to take down the 9 Souls, powerful rulers of a world that mixes ancient tradition with futuristic tech. The gameplay is heavily inspired by Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, focusing on deflection-based combat. Timing is everything here. You'll parry attacks, counter with precision, and use every opening to take down enemies in intense tactical fights. It's tough but fair, and when you nail that perfect deflection, it feels incredible. The world of 9 Souls is absolutely breathtaking. The hand-drawn art style brings the land of New Kunlun to life, with its mix of cyberpunk cities, lush landscapes, and eerie ruins. It's not just about the visuals, though. The story dives into themes of Taoism, technology, and the consequences of power, creating a world that feels rich and deeply thought out. Exploration is just as important as combat. You'll platform your way through levels, uncovering lore and hidden secrets that add depth to the story. The game rewards curiosity, and every area feels unique with its own challenges and atmosphere. What makes 9 Souls stand out is how seamlessly it combines its elements. The intense combat, the thoughtful exploration, and the deep narrative all come together to create something truly special. If you're into action games that challenge your skills and immerse you in a unique world, 9 Souls is a must-play. It's fresh, visually striking, and offers a story that sticks with you long after you've put down the controller. This is one of those underrated gems that deserves way more attention.
Are you ready?
Banishers Ghosts of New Eden. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is an action RPG set in 1695. You play as Red Macwraith and Auntie Duarte, a ghost hunting couple with a complicated connection to the spirit world. Auntie, after a tragic event, becomes a ghost herself. Together, they face the challenge of balancing their personal loss with their duty to protect New Eden from supernatural threats. The gameplay combines Red's physical combat skills with Auntie's spiritual powers. You'll fight a mix of human and spectral enemies, using both characters' abilities to adapt to different challenges. The combat is designed to encourage strategy, especially when facing more dangerous spirits. The story focuses on the choices you make. Each decision has consequences, shaping the lives of the people and spirits you encounter. You'll need to decide whether to help ghosts find peace or banish them to protect the living, knowing these choices carry moral weight.
There's no like getting this way, is it?
The world of New Eden feels grounded yet eerie. You'll explore villages, forests, and haunted ruins, all presented with detailed visuals and a moody atmosphere. The characters you meet and the voice acting bring the story to life without feeling overdone. If you enjoy games with a mix of action and meaningful choices, Banishers Ghosts of New Eden offers a thoughtful experience. It's a game that values storytelling as much as gameplay, making it a strong choice for players who appreciate a balance of both.
Use your rings to banish that thing.
They'll give up eventually. We just gotta wait the son of bitches out. This bounty hunter knew that.
Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Call of Juarez Gunslinger is a first-person shooter that doesn't take itself too seriously but delivers a fun and stylish Wild West experience. You play as Silas Greaves, an aging bounty hunter recounting his exploits in a series of tall tales. The storytelling is a big part of the charm. Silas is an unreliable narrator, so the world changes as he remembers events differently, keeping things unpredictable and entertaining. The gameplay is straightforward and satisfying. You'll face off against outlaws, gunslingers, and even some iconic Wild West figures like Billy the Kid and Jesse James. The shooting mechanics feel great with a focus on quick reflexes and flashy moves.
Heroic men like him did what other he died defending the Alamo.
And the game rewards you for pulling off headshots, combos, and using bullet time, making every encounter feel dynamic. The skill system lets you customize Silas to fit your playstyle. You can focus on being a sharpshooter, wielding dual pistols, or becoming a deadly shotgun expert. The progression feels rewarding without overcomplicating things. The visuals and tone embrace the Wild West in a comic book style. The environments are vibrant and detailed, from dusty saloons to wide open canyons, and the music fits perfectly, enhancing the gunslinging vibe. What makes Gunslinger stand out is its humor and pacing. The storytelling blends action with humor, as Silas exaggerates or reimagines parts of his past, often leading to unexpected twists mid-mission. It's lighthearted but never feels shallow. If you're looking for a game that's quick to pick up, packed with action, and full of Wild West flair, Call of Juarez Gunslinger is a solid choice. It's fun, engaging, and doesn't overstay its welcome. Perfect for anyone who loves a good shootout and a tall tale. Evil West. Evil West is a third-person action game that throws you into a wild, blood-soaked version of the American frontier. You play as Jesse Rentier, a vampire hunter working for a secret organization tasked with keeping supernatural threats in check. It's part cowboy adventure, part monster-slaying mayhem, with a mix of brutal combat and a pulpy story to tie it all together. The combat is fast, brutal, and focused on variety. You'll wield a mix of weapons, from revolvers and rifles to a powerful gauntlet that lets you electrify enemies or smash them into pieces. The game encourages close quarters brawling, with punches, dodges, and finishers feeling as satisfying as the gunplay. It's all about chaining combos and using the environment to your advantage, keeping every encounter dynamic. Evil West doesn't hold back on spectacle. You'll face grotesque monsters, from vampiric horrors to massive bosses, all while battling through detailed environments like eerie forests, old mines, and crumbling towns. The world is rich with Wild West vibes but leans heavily into dark supernatural twists. The story is straightforward but engaging, leaning into its campy, action movie tone. Jesse is a no-nonsense protagonist, and his interactions with allies and enemies add a bit of grit and humor to the experience. The game also includes a co-op mode, letting you team up with a friend to take on the hordes together. It's a nice addition that makes the combat even more chaotic and fun. Evil West is perfect if you're looking for a game that's all about satisfying combat, over-the-top action, and a unique setting. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, but it delivers a fun, polished experience that's easy to jump into and hard to put down. If you're into games like Doom or God of War, this one's worth a look. Prototype. Prototype is a game that lets you unleash pure chaos in the most satisfying way. You play as Alex Mercer, a man who wakes up with no memory of who he is or how he got infected with a virus that gives him superhuman abilities. As you uncover the truth behind the virus in Alex's past, you take on an entire city filled with soldiers, infected creatures, and innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. The gameplay is where Prototype shines. It's all about power and freedom. Alex's abilities let you run up skyscrapers, glide through the air, and destroy pretty much anything in your path. You can morph your body into deadly weapons, a giant blade, hammer fists, or even claws, and tear through enemies with brutal efficiency. The combat is fast-paced and chaotic, with tons of enemies on screen at once, pushing you to use every trick in your arsenal. The open world setting of New York City is your playground. You can roam the city, cause mayhem, or tackle the story missions at your own pace. Whether it's launching cars at helicopters or hijacking tanks, the game constantly throws over-the-top action your way. The story is dark and gritty, focusing on themes of betrayal, revenge, and survival. Alex isn't your typical hero, he's more of an anti-hero, and his brutal methods reflect that. As you dive deeper into the conspiracy, the plot keeps you engaged with its twists and reveals. One of the standout features is the ability to consume enemies, which lets you take on their appearance and absorb their memories. It's a clever mechanic that ties into both the story and gameplay, allowing for stealth approaches when brute force isn't the best option. Prototype is a game that thrives on letting you feel unstoppable. It's not about precision or realism, it's about pure power and the thrill of tearing through everything in your way. If you're in the mood for an action-packed, chaotic open-world experience, this one delivers.